Sports.
We are back here with Yossi Gozlan of the Third Apron. Yossi, thanks so much for joining us. I'm trying to figure out how to do this camera. There we go.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, Allen. It's been a fun couple of days.
Let's get you. Oh, here we go.
No, it's been thanks for having me on, Allen. It's just been a fun couple of days. Didn't know you were coming, so it's surprising to see you walk into the room. And yeah, we're just here watching the games, seeing everybody.
Yeah.
That's kind of more or less what it is. Like, for the most part, yeah, you come here to work, do some media, but also about seeing all these people you connect with online.
Yeah.
People that you've been on with their shows.
That's right. That's right.
In real life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, and how many have you been to for Summer League?
This is technically my fourth. My first was 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
You know, not a rookie anymore, but you know, I'm not also the most experienced. Usually they're quicker trips. Here I'm doing my first full week. So yeah.
Well, I mean, a week in Vegas, that's always going to be kind of tough. Let's talk about obviously you're with the Third Apron, you kind of a play on the second apron conversation. I was talking to a couple people in the, you know, obviously with the cap and how all of that is continuing to change. Someone I spoke to said that the second apron looks scary now, but it will make more sense and teams are going to adapt, be able to move around it. And of course, my first summer league, everyone's saying, it's way quieter than it normally is. Do you think that this is just a transition period before people just kind of adapt to the new world order?
I think for the most part, the second apron just kind of became a buzzword where I don't know how it happened. It's like you hear the word and everyone gets terrified of what it means to be in there. I mean, very few teams are even in there. It's just mostly like, you know, when you're in the aprons, it's the less you can do to build out your team. And most teams are below it. And then like the Kings right now, they have a lot more ways, a lot more flexibility to do whatever they need to do to improve the team. I think for the most part, I don't think it's going to have like any real big negative effects. The biggest thing is it's probably shortening the highest end of what a team's championship window could be, because it gets just really expensive. When you're in the second apron, you're deep in the tax. They change the tax rules where it's way more expensive now. So for the Thunder, for example, they're going to be in the second apron eventually, but they're uniquely situated to be okay with it. They've had the appetite to spend in the past. People forget they paid a lot of money in the Paul George years. They got all these draft picks, so they're going to be able to replace a lot of their role players. So like it's basically like they'll chip away from the bottom, but they're not going to move. They don't need to move their top guys, like probably not for a while. So I think for the most part, it's just kind of forcing teams to prioritize drafting well, really manage well, or else you're in a situation where you're going to have to reset things because you don't want to spend a lot of money for a team that's not going to be that good.
Yeah, and I think that's been the interesting conversation about the Kings, because a lot of people want ownership to go into the luxury tax, but it's I look at it as a chicken or the egg thing, where I think you go into the luxury what the Pacers did, right? Whether or not the Pacers should have been gotten all the way to the finals, fine, but you know, hey, you get to the second round. It's supposed to take you over the top, the luxury tax. It's not supposed to get you a 6 seed. That's just kind of how I've always felt about it.
So with the luxury tax, I think for the most part, they also changed it where a team like the Pacers, if they got into it a little bit, it wouldn't be that expensive. Like the Rockets are now in it, but it's like a very low payment they're going to make because they reduced it in the lower ends, but made it more expensive in the higher ends. So the thing about the tax, it's like, if it doesn't really make sense to pay it if your team's not at least going to be a playoff team.
Right.
So this isn't, so like the Kings are not going to pay the tax this year, and it's just because they're probably not good enough. Like if they, and The other thing, though, even if they do make the playoffs, they're still going to want to, like, practically speaking, it makes sense to hold off from being a taxpayer if you could, because the more years you are in it, then eventually you get designated as a repeater taxpayer, and then you pay even higher rates. That's where Boston is right now. That's why they're trying to save so much money, because it just doesn't make sense to pay. They were going to have like a over $250 million tax payment, just to keep Holiday, Porzingis, all those guys together. That didn't make sense, especially with the Tatum injury, and they already saved a bunch of money, and they're probably going to save some more. So that's the thing where, like, you want to time your windows now. You want to time, like, what year you're going to pay in the tax, how many years you're going to be in the tax, how much you're going to pay, then how many years until you eventually get into the second apron. Like, you got to now all these new rules just kind of like forces a team to time when they want to get over these certain thresholds. So for a team like the Kings right now, like most teams, they're still far away. They're still ways away from like being a contender. Once you're like closer to that level where you're good enough to win a playoff series, at least, then it makes more sense to pay the tax, just with the way the system incentivizes teams to go about it.
Zach LaVine is a name that's come up, and I think it's 47 this season, and then 49 after that in a player option. I've been discussing, not obviously the offseason that we're in right now, but the next offseason. I've been discussing how, hey, the season after that, or that this upcoming offseason, this is where you could see the Kings make some moves, because Zach LaVine, among other things, but Zach LaVine, he's going to accept the option. It's $50 million, but it is expiring. Do you think teams have more of an appetite? Let's say a team that, you know, could use some three-point shooting, could use a secondary scorer. Do you think that Zach LaVine would be looked at a little bit differently once it's an expiring contract, even though it's still a ton of money?
It's hard to say, just based on how the trade, like how he got traded, where LaVine was having an amazing year, and once the Kings acquired him, the Bulls didn't really get much value back from him. They basically were he played well enough where they were able to just move him. It seems like they just got
Kevin Herter.
They just got contracts back, and they got like their own draft pick back, which they were probably going to keep anyways, based on the protections. So so based on that, it doesn't seem like there's really an appetite for LaVine at that contract. If he was making maybe closer to something in the 30s, okay, maybe I'm sure there might be more teams interested. So I'll be interested in seeing what happens with that player option, because they changed the rules where he can sign an extension where he decreases it. Now,
that was the Kyrie thing a little bit.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's what Kyrie did. The question now is, I guess, the difference now is we have a new front office that didn't acquire LaVine. Are they interested in extending LaVine to something now? They could sign this type of extension now where, okay, he signs for less, but then you got to give him at least like 2 or 3 extra years on top of that. Are the Kings willing to commit those years to him, even at something a little more favorable, even if it's something like in the mid 30s, something like that? That's what we don't know. We don't know how the front office feels about LaVine. So if I had to guess, I would guess they probably want to play things out a little bit, and maybe, just they're more likely to get to a better. They have more optionality, I think, if they just run things out.
Just eat it. He has a good season this upcoming season. He opts in, and you probably just eat it, because at that point now that'd be going into year 3 of Scott Perry at that point. So we'll see what happens there. Yossi, you know, I could just keep talking to you every time, but I know you got to get back. And we were talking earlier, you know, just when I wasn't sure if you were going to come on or not, about what you're doing, the sports business classes. But you're teaching them. You're instructing them. So a great job, man. Go check out the3rdapron.com. Follow Yossi on social media. Great follow. And, you know, he's kind of been the talk of the town here at Summer League, because you're doing your thing, man. You're on the rise, and we appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Alan. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much, man. When we return, 11 o'clock hour, everything I've been hearing about Jonathan Kuminga and Malik Monk, Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.